Hi there. You must have heard that rhinos have one of the most unpredictable and quick-tempered characters among all animals living in the wild. But for what reason, in the blink of an eye, does a gentle giant turn into a formidable tank, rushing at full speed towards the offender? Why is there so much fury in this herbivore, and why are clashes with other beasts a frequent occurrence for it? In this video, you're going to be finding out what a rhino is capable of when meeting such serious opponents as a lion, elephant, and buffalo. Two-ton giants certainly leave an impression, especially those who have the opportunity to meet a rhino in its natural habitat. Those who've had to flee from the attacking rhino surely got an even more memorable impression. True, not all types of rhinos reach a weight of 2 tons. The largest of the rhinos is the white rhinoceros. The weight of an adult male is about 2 to 2.5 tons, but individuals up to 4 or 4.5 tons are found. The northern white rhino is larger than the southern one, but alas, it seems scientists won't be able to save this majestic beast. Only 2 individuals of this species remain in the world, and both are elderly females. Next in size is the Indian rhinoceros. The weight of the male is up to 2.2 tons, females up to 1.6. Then the black rhino. The male black rhino weighs in at about 1.5 tons. The western was larger, but since 2013 this species is considered extinct. Extinction also threatens the smallest of them, the Sumatran rhinoceros. The weight of an adult male is about 1 ton, and their number is only 220 to 250 individuals in the world. The situation is even worse than the Javan rhinoceros. There are only 40 to 60 of them left. The exact figure can't be determined since these animals are very suspicious and secretive in nature and prefer the sanctity of untouched rainforests. The main reason for their extinction is the mass destruction of rhinos by people due to their horns. In Asian countries, the rhino horn is considered a miracle cure, and on the black market they offer a huge amount of money, $70,000 to $75,000 per kilogram. The black rhino prefers to eat the branches of shrubs and trees. It has a tenacious upper lip and no front incisors. The white rhino likes to graze in the meadows. It has a long, flat lip, which is more suitable for grazing on grasses. In fact, a black rhino can be compared with the secateurs for pruning trees and the white rhino with a lawnmower. But back to the horns. It, in fact, can't be called a horn. It's not attached to the skull and consists of keratin, which is a protein found in human hair and nails. Asian rhinos have 1 horn, African rhinos 2, and some black ones have 3 or even up to 5. The length of the largest known horn of a white rhino is 62 inches and the Indian 23. The main purpose, of course, is to separate bushes and thickets or uproot small grass, but during an attack, the Indian rhino actually doesn't hit the enemy with a horn, but bites sharply with its fangs. African rhinos have no incisors and attack with the horn. Another facet of the rhino is its extremely poor vision. It's hard for it to notice a standing person even from a distance of 70 to 80 feet, and perhaps it's for this reason that it is considered unpredictable. You must admit that it is difficult to warn the enemy in advance of your intentions if you suffer from myopia and notice it only when it's already very close. Rhinos' weak vision is compensated by excellent hearing and sense of smell. Animals often determine their attitude to the opponent by smell, and if it seems hostile to the giant, the rhino immediately rushes to the attack. Equally important is the size of the object. This explains the countless attacks from rhinos on cars. They're perceived by the rhino as opponents. Also, the rhino has its own personal guard. These birds are called oxpeckers, and they love rhinos. This is a real dining room for the nimble bird. Oxpeckers eat an incredible amount of parasite insects that settle into the folds of rhino skin. In addition, the nimble bird is very suspicious and at the slightest danger warns the rhino with a sharp cry. The rhino then responds to the warning instantly, and if it notices the target, rushes towards it like a tank. Yes, rushes. The rhinoceros can accelerate to a speed of 30 to 35 miles per hour, and it runs on unpaired hooves. That is, on each leg of the animal there are 3 toes, and on each toe a hoof. The rhino's brain only weighs about 1 pound, and maybe that's the reason for its unpredictable behavior. It doesn't really think about much. Then it attacks without thinking, and then while it's mid-attack will decide whether or not it was worth it. Indeed, it's strange to see when a heavily armored assault tank is rushing at you and then abruptly stops and slows down and then just turns off without reaching you. But sometimes it happens. Some believe that rhinos and elephants are actually deadly enemies. In fact, the myth of hatred between these animals dates back to ancient times. Only one case is known in history when an elephant shamefully fled when it saw a rhino. And it was in 1515 when the general of Portuguese India, the great Alfonso de Albuquerque, sent the gift of a female Indian rhino to King of Portugal Manuel I. At that time, the king already had several elephants in the zoo, so the monarch decided to put them to the test and arranged a battle between animals. The elephant was led to the rhino from the palace through the city streets full of people. The poor animal was obviously very frightened when he was introduced into the courtyard of the palace. Now, imagine his condition when a partition was opened up in front of him and a rhino stood behind it. Out of surprise, the poor elephant rushed in the opposite direction, breaking through the wall in the process. In the wild, these two giants prefer to avoid each other, limiting themselves to rare skirmishes. Typically, a rhino retreats first. Sometimes an elephant scares off a rhino by throwing a stick at it or spraying sand in front of its face. But in rare cases, an elephant can violently attack a rhino. In this video, the elephant managed to knock the rhino down. In the skirmish, the rhino baby was miraculously uninjured, but such behavior is rare. But there are situations when elephants save a rhino, like in Kruger National Park, South Africa, when an elephant trampled a poacher that was hunting for rhino. In general, in the wild, an adult rhino has practically no enemies except for humans. Dressed in virtually impenetrable armor, this giant can easily withstand the powerful blows of a lion's paw. Due to its special structure, rhino skin has the ability to quickly regenerate. Having received even serious wounds, the animal is fully restored in a day. But curious rhino babies can easily become the prey of lions. After all, the lion pride attacks any prey that it considers promising. Babies, as a rule, are near to the mother until the age of 2. But if the female becomes pregnant during this period, she might temporarily drive them away from herself before giving birth. This is what wildcats use. These 3 nomadic lions were able to defeat 3 young black rhinos. When an adult accidentally enters the territory of a pride, the lions try not to enter into conflict and give no reason to attack. But rhinos are also particularly arrogant. In Kruger National Park, 2 lions got their lunch and for some reason didn't like the rhino that approached them. The rhino tried to drive away the predators, but they circled stubbornly nearby. After all, hyenas are waiting nearby, striving to steal their lunch every minute. In addition, one of the lions is clearly wounded and weak. Dinner will be difficult for him to catch. In general, rhinos can perfectly distinguish the contours of herbivores, such as zebras and buffaloes, and don't attack them. But sometimes buffaloes, by virtue of their fighting character, themselves run into a fight. A black buffalo weighs an average of about 1,500 pounds, but there are individuals under a ton. Can a buffalo compete with a rhino? The rhino has a mighty neck, adapted to strike with a huge horn. Only one successful jerk, and the deadly horn will go sideways. This group of buffalo were outmatched. The bulls had to retreat. It happens though that in battle, the buffalo shows great determination. Like this bull, for example. The rhino knocked him down, hit with its horn several times, and the buffalo doesn't calm down. But the Asian buffalo with its long horns drove the rhinoceros away from itself without loss, and also demonstratively began to scatter sand with its horns. Who do you think would win in a fight between a rhino and a hippo? This isn't hard to guess. Both of these giants claim the second place in the world by weight after the elephant. In addition, the hippopotamus has its own weapon against the rhino horn: giant fangs and the ability to open its mouth 3 to 5 feet. By comparison, the rhino really has nothing to resist the fanged hippopotamus. Their weight is almost the same, but the victory definitely belongs to the hippo. Unfortunately, at present, cutting off the horns of rhinos is the only effective measure to protect animals from poachers. This procedure is painless, and the horn grows back within 2 years. This video was recorded by tourists in Kruger National Park. It still remains a mystery why the hippo dutifully suffered the blows of this rhino. Fortunately, the rhinoceros was tired of striking a non-resistant animal and left. On the flip side, not far from the runway of a small airport in South Africa, the rangers there saw an unexpected picture. A young hippo sought to get acquainted with a rhino. It actively sniffed the rhino, touched its nose, and opened its mouth wide. The rhino avoided the attention in every possible way. The hippo fearlessly followed its new acquaintance into the thick of the herd, and didn't lag behind him until one of the rhinos chased after the hippo. But it's not only hippos that get confused. Rhinos too will sometimes, instead of fighting, try to impose their courtship on a pretty hippo. And in this video, the male rhino furiously guards its territory. The opponent first encounters a formidable growl. If the opponent is large and experienced, they bow their heads and periodically collide with horns. The ritual is repeated until the uninvited guest leaves. Rhinos rarely arrange serious fights, preferring to resolve disputes by demonstrating their horns. But with females, the situation is different. Here they often show dominance. In some cases, males can accidentally kill a baby while trying to capture the attention of a lady. Perhaps for this reason, before taking courtship, the female often enters the fray. So as you can see, despite its size and formidable horn, the rhino is not at all bad, and in total there are no more than 30,000 of them left in the world. So, how do you think the proposal from a group of South African farmers to legalize the extraction of horns would help preserve them? Be sure to write your opinion down in the comment section below, and of course, don't forget to hit like if you like this video. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.